इरादे लेकर बिन बंदिश बहते जाना सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है, सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है।
I think it's up now. Get up and go. Nothing can stop you now. Get up and go, get up and go.
जब सच्ची दौड़ हो अंदर सब बंधन खुल जाते हैं, छप छप छपाक से चेहरे रातों के धुल जाते हैं। आजाद पंख है यारों चलो आसमान से खेले, ना सरहद ना सीमाएं आओ उड़ान से खेले। सोच लिया
Focus on the moment at hand, stick to the plan, never stop, never again. Don't think, no what, and there's no pain. Only adrenaline running through my veins. Breakthrough and I never quit. Mine is on the finish line till I'm over it. When I fall, I rise. You'll see how, like a flame from the ashes. Nothing can stop me now.
सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है, सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है।
Nothing can stop me Get up and go.
जिद्दी सी कोशिश लेकर जिद्दी सी कोशिश लेकर नस नस का धनुष बनाना, तलवों से तपी जमी को जुनूनी राग सुनाना, तलवों से तपी जमी को जुनूनी राग सुनाना। होना ही है आज मुकम्मल, सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है।
Nothing can stop you now. Oh, get up and go. Nothing can stop you now.
खामोश झील के अंदर एक जिंदा लहर उठाना, हर दिल की खुली सड़क पे उम्मीदें लिखते जाना। सोए सोए सपनों को एक हलचल ख्वाब दिखाना, बेबाक इरादे लेकर बिन बंदिश बहते जाना। सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है, सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है।
Nothing can stop you now. Get up and go. Nothing can stop you now. Get up and go, get up and go.
जब सच्ची दौड़ हो अंदर सब बंधन खुल जाते हैं, छप छप छपाक से चेहरे रातों के धुल जाते हैं। आजाद पंख है यारों चलो आसमान से खेले, ना सरहद ना सीमाएं आओ उड़ान से खेले। सोच लिया
Focus moment of hands, stick to the plan, never stop, never again, don't think, no what, and there's no pain, only adrenaline running through my veins. Breakthrough and I never quit, mine is on the finish line till I'm over it. When I fall, I rise, you'll see how, like a flame from the ashes. Nothing can stop me now.
सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है, सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है.
Nothing can stop me now. Get up and go.
जिद्दी सी कोशिश लेकर जिद्दी सी कोशिश लेकर नस नस का धनुष बनाना, तलवों से तपी जमी को जुनूनी राग सुनाना, तलवों से तपी जमी को जुनूनी राग सुनाना, होना ही है आज मुकम्मल. सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है.
Nothing can stop you now. Oh, get up and go. Nothing can stop me now.
खामोश झील के अंदर एक जिंदा लहर उठाना, हर दिल की खुली सड़क पे उम्मीदें लिखते जाना, सोए सोए सपनों को एक हलचल ख्वाब दिखाना, बेबाक इरादे लेकर बिन बंदिश बहते जाना. सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है. सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है.
Nothing can stop me now. Get up and go. Nothing, nothing can stop you now. Get up and go, get up and go.
जब सच्ची दौड़ हो अंदर सब बंधन खुल जाते हैं, छप छप छपाक से चेहरे रातों के धुल जाते हैं. आजाद पंख है यारों, चलो आसमान से खेले, ना सरहद ना सीमाएं, आओ उड़ान से खेले. सोच लिया
Focus on the moment at hand, stick to the plan, never stop, never again, don't think, no what, and there's no pain, only adrenaline running through my veins. Breakthrough and I never quit, mine is on the finish line till I'm over it. When I fall, I rise, you'll see how, like a flame from the ashes. Nothing can stop me now.
सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है. सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है.
Nothing can stop me now.
जिद्दी सी कोशिश लेकर जिद्दी सी कोशिश लेकर नस नस का धनुष बनाना, तलवों से तपी जमी को जुनूनी राग सुनाना, तलवों से तपी जमी को जुनूनी राग सुनाना, होना ही है आज मुकम्मल। सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है।
Nothing can stop you now. Oh, get up and go. Nothing can stop you now.
खामोश झील के अंदर एक जिंदा लहर उठाना, हर दिल की खुली सड़क पे उम्मीदें लिखते जाना, सोए सोए सपनों को एक हलचल ख्वाब दिखाना, बेबाक इरादे लेकर बिन बंदिश बहते जाना। सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है। सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है।
Nothing can stop you now. Get up and go. Nothing can stop you now. Get up and go, get up and go.
जब सच्ची दौड़ हो अंदर सब बंधन खुल जाते हैं, छप छप छपाक से चेहरे रातों के धुल जाते हैं। आजाद पंख है यारों चलो आसमान से खेले, ना सरहद ना सीमाएं आओ उड़ान से खेले। सोच लिया
Focus on the moment at hand, stick to the plan, never stop, never again. Don't think, no what, and there's no pain. Only adrenaline running through my veins. Breakthrough and I never quit. Mine is on the finish line till I'm over it. When I fall, I rise. You'll see how, like a flame from the ashes. Nothing can stop me now.
सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है। सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है।
Nothing can stop me Get up and go.
जिद्दी सी कोशिश लेकर जिद्दी सी कोशिश लेकर नस नस का धनुष बनाना, तलवों से तपी जमी को जुनूनी राग सुनाना, तलवों से तपी जमी को जुनूनी राग सुनाना, होना ही है आज मुकम्मल। सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है।
Nothing can stop you now. Oh, get up and go.
अंश झील के अंदर एक जिंदा लहर उठाना, हर दिल की खुली सड़क पे उम्मीदें लिखते जाना, सोए सोए सपनों को एक हलचल ख्वाब दिखाना, बेबाक इरादे लेकर बिन बंदिश बहते जाना। सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है, सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है।
Nothing can stop you now. Get up and go. Nothing can stop you now. Get up and go, get up and go.
जब सच्ची दौड़ हो अंदर सब बंधन खुल जाते हैं, छप छप छपाक से चेहरे रातों के धुल जाते हैं। आजाद पंख है यारों चलो आसमान से खेले, ना सरहद ना सीमाएं आओ उड़ान से खेले। सोच लिया
Focus on the moment at hand, stick to the plan, never stop, never again, don't think, no what, and there's no pain, only adrenaline running through my veins. Break through and I never quit, mine is on the finish line till I'm over it. When I fall, I rise, you'll see how, like a flame from the ashes. Nothing can stop me now.
सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है, सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है।
Nothing can stop me
Good afternoon and welcome wherever in the world you might be. We're all set for the 16th edition of ADHM 2020. The number 16 may not be significant, but the year 2020 certainly is, not always for the right reasons. Now, sometimes when you look at an institution or a company, you can talk about a good company who flourishes in the face of growth, sometimes even slight adversity. But when you change from a good to a great company or a great institution, that's when vision comes in. That's when hope comes in. And that's when you realize that in the face of great adversity, when all around are often throwing their hands up and giving up, you can not just stand up to things, but you can create even more, create more opportunities and show the way for others. And what we're going to talk about for the next couple of hours is a path that is being shown for not just Indian sport, but a way of life. Before we go forward, it's always time to go back and relive the ethos that is the Airtel Delhi Half Marathon.
In unprecedented times, every small step will once again define a giant leap, as the 29th of November will be the day. A day when the spirit of gratitude will fill the air as we salute the statesmen who made it all possible. The World Athletics gold standard in racing. Global safety standards and protocols in place. A passionate stakeholder team and runners across the country will stand together as the face of a resurgent India and go the distance. As the world's best athletes, the defending champions, event record holders embark on their 21K journey from the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium. Thousands across the globe will join them from their very own neighborhoods and cities. A day when personal bests will be different, but celebrations will be one. When start lines will be different, but emotions will be one. A day when Delhi will run in India's hearts. A day when all roads lead to ADHM. The world's most prestigious, most awaited, most celebrated half marathon. The Airtel Delhi Half Marathon 2020. Come on India, join the elite runners in Delhi from wherever you are using the ADHM app. Register now.
Always great to see the images, but those two important words, registrations open. It's a call to action. And that, I think, is what matters to most of us. There were many who wondered, will it even happen? Yes, folks, it's happening. It's happening in a magnificent fashion, something you've never heard of or seen before. And trust me, it's going to be setting the trend for everything else around. On this note, it's time to welcome a lot of you. You're already seeing on your screens, and I'm going to start by saying a big hello to Joint Managing Director of Procam International, the company I mentioned, which is all about vision. Welcome to Vivek Singh.
Gautam, thank you so much.
Also, I'm going to come back to you, Vivek. I'm going to welcome everybody else as well. Vani Venkatesh, CEO, Delhi NCR of Bharti Airtel Limited, always supporting us. And of course, with a vested interest for herself because she's a fitness freak. Vani, welcome, as always. Big hello to Sandeep Jain, Medical Director, ADHM, and Principal Consultant and Head, Emergency Medicine, Max Super Specialty Hospital. Welcome, sir. In these times, we mention hospitality, of course. So good to see Meena Bhatia, once again, VP and General Manager, Le Méridien, always playing great host to us and part of an industry that has also faced great challenges and are marching ahead, just like all of us are. Also to Adil Sumariwala, always great to see, President, Athletics Federation of India, and such a great partner and friend of Procam International. And of course, it's not a cliche, but I left it for the last because I wanted to say a huge thank you for the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports and the Government of India for their support, which is why I waited, Mittal Saab, to introduce you. Thank you very much for not just being on this panel, but I think most importantly, for supporting us and allowing us to go forward in this venture. Vivek, I'd like to start with you because I think it's you're the best person to welcome everyone and just give us a hint into what it means to be in this new environment, which we won't call the new normal because we are taking it as to our own normal, a special normal, Vivek.
Thank you, Gautam. Such a pleasure to be here. And thank you all the panelists for joining us today. Yes, you know, there were many challenges and as we all know, are unprecedented times. However, we had an obligation, a duty, a higher calling. And that higher calling was, what are we going to do? How are we going to give courage and hope to the people, whether it's athletes from around the world, whether it's our Indian athletes? And you realize that certain events, and especially events like the Airtel Delhi Half Marathon, have long transcended the boundaries of an event. They are a movement. They are a beacon of hope. And with this wish in our hearts, we went to the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India. And I must say, they have been so dynamic. I must say, we are so delighted by the support that the ministry has extended. Thanks to the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, we have had the Ministry of External Affairs, Home Affairs, and Family Health and Welfare all supporting the event. And today we are on the cusp of what I would call sporting history, to conduct what is probably going to be the most strongly competed for Airtel Delhi Half Marathon ever. You're going to hear more about the elite athletes in the next few sessions. You're going to hear about the unprecedented protocols we are putting into place, the challenges we are putting into place in terms of safety and security. But most importantly, I'd like to say that today you're going to hear about something that in times of adversity, Airtel Delhi Half Marathon stood up to be counted as a beacon of change. And you're going to hear from a visionary sponsor called Airtel. But before Airtel speaks, it's my privilege and absolute pleasure to request Secretary to Government of India, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Shri Ravi Mittalji, to say a few words.
So thank you, Vivek. In fact, you know, you should not thank us. We should thank you for organizing this event. In these times of COVID, these events really provide good opportunity for our entire sporting community to come together and to take us forward. You know, these sporting events, I think, are part of our Fit India movement. And Fit India is a very important program which we run. I would like to extend our best wishes to your tournament, as you have, sorry, to your marathon, as you have told me earlier that only some elite athletes will be participating physically, and the others will be participating in a virtual manner. I think other marathons can also follow your prescription and organize it in this way. You know, we are developing a Fit India app, and this will be just like other health apps. But the main thing in this app would be that uh, everyone will be able to evaluate his fitness. So we will be able to say that we are 70 or 80 or 60 out of 100 in terms of fitness. Now we'll be launching this app sometime in January. And I would, through this, I would like to request all participants in the marathon to come on this app in January to see their fitness. And you know, if one starts seeing one's fitness every month, it will lead to improvement it will lead to an improvement. So through this marathon, I'd like to request all of you to join us in our Fit India app in January. I thank you and congratulate you again for this event and give my best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you very
so
much. Mittal Saab, in fact, you'll be delighted. I'm going to correct you on one small thing that you just said, but it's going to be something that will delight you even more, because you mentioned the word virtual. Now, in this world, especially in 2020, we think of virtual as something that's not real, that you'll be sitting back in your armchairs, probably got your mobile phone, pressing a few buttons, and you'll count as a run. That's not the case. In keeping with your Fit India movement, in keeping with the support that you're giving us, the elite athletes will be the only ones running on the official course. But everybody else who joins in will actually run in their own spaces. And you'll find out more about this over the course of the next couple of hours.
So, Mr. Gautam,
Yes,
we had
sir.
also organized a freedom run, as you know, from 15th August to 2nd October. And you know, more than 3 crore people participated in that run at their own pace, at their own time. And we got more than 10 crore kilometer of run during the Freedom Run campaign that we had 2 months back. So I really hope that these kind of activities become more common because it will lead to improvement in the fitness level of all of us.
I could see that would resonate with the sports secretary. Vani, as promised, I'll come to you. I'm never sure when to start with you. Should I talk to you as the runner, or should I talk to you as the person behind the whole support from Bharti Airtel? So maybe let me start with the running bit, because
Sure.
since I just mentioned that it's all about the elite athletes, but it's about everybody else joining in from wherever you are. Vani, are you set to break your record from last year?
This year, to be honest, we are making the networks run fast. That said, of course, can attempt to break my record as well. But this year has been focused around making the networks run fast and enabling this run safely and digitally for all our participants from wherever they are.
But it's important to have your support, and I think maybe you can shed light on that, because there were many who might have said, is it actually happening? But if
Yeah,
everyone
absolutely.
doesn't come together, and if we don't have you being the leading light, it's not going to happen, is it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think 2020, of course, will be etched in our collective memory as a year that redefined the new normal, isn't it? And so we thought, why should ADHM be? Yeah, we've collectively responded to the challenges humanity, and we thought, why should ADHM be any different? And therefore, to enable this safely and responsibly along with our partners, we've really upped the ante on our ingenuity. So this time is going to be a physical plus digital avatar, right? It's a whole new avatar which permits safety. So physically, we'll have the elite athletes compete on the streets of Delhi, but literally everyone else can digitally run from the convenience of their locations using the ADHM app. And that's what we focused on this time, to enable a safe environment while keeping our participants fit and continuing to live the legacy of Airtel Delhi Half Marathon. And thanks to everyone's support, we really hope this will usher the start of a new way of living and a new way of running.
Thank you, Vani. Yes, I could see Adil when Mittal Saab said "Fit India," and you could see him vigorously nodding. Could see it struck a chord with him. But speaking from a point of view of an athlete, Adil, be it professional or be it an amateur, it must hurt when you're not able to get out there and do what you love most. And this is an opportunity to lift the morale of every athlete.
Absolutely. I think we lost out a whole season in India because of various restrictions. The athletes are raring to go. For a professional athlete, it's not done to waste a whole season and not compete. So you can't keep training. You have to compete. And I'm really glad that we have this as a starting point for all our top athletes. Because next year is the Olympic Games. And I think there are two parts to getting ready for Olympic Games. One is the physical part and one is the mental part. And an event like this makes you start getting your mind into a competitive mode. And from that comes the physical. So the mind comes first, the physical is there because you've done the training, you've done whatever. And it's also timed right because from April onwards, there was a blackout period for qualification for the Olympic Games. And the blackout period gets over now. And this is like the opening. This is the resurgence of athletics. This is the resurgence of the sport. And this is a great event. There are some really top-class runners across the world that are coming. And I think it's going to make a real difference. And I think as sports people, we like to take on a challenge and say, well, here we are going to compete, we are going to fight, we're going to come out on top. And Procam, thank you for this opportunity that you're giving us to do it. Airtel, Meridian, but Max, which is taking care of the health. So it's a very complex thing. It's not simple. But especially the Department of Sports and Youth Affairs government. And I can tell you, I have been in the sport for about 40 years now as an athlete, as a coach, as an administrator. I have never seen a more proactive secretary or the minister who really looking at long term, having a vision, and probably in the most difficult times. And they have led the way. And I really thank everyone who is on this panel to say you all. It's a team effort, and everyone is contributed, and it'll go a very long way in resurgence of sport in India. Thank you.
Yes, certainly will be. Thank you, Adil, for those inspirational words. Teamwork is right because everyone plays their part in a different sort of way. And we know every time the Airtel Delhi Half Marathon comes around, everyone looks forward to queuing up at the gate of the Meridian because it's not a hotel, it's home. And that's when we come home year after year and look forward to that period. Of course, we can come there other times as well. But at that period is when we really feel like it's home. Meena Bhatia, you ready to welcome people home again in the style you always do, despite the challenges?
Thank you, Gautam. Yes, of course. I think more than ever before. And it is unbelievable. And I think it's not only a very bold step taken by Procam, but I think personally, I could not believe that we are going ahead with it. It's truly bold. It's very inspiring, in fact. It has evoked a sense of inspiration for all of us. Every year in the press conference for the program, for the Airtel Marathon, I always say it brings in a sense of energy, a new energy into our team. This time I would say it's brought life. It's really brought life back to the hotel. We have been almost shut during this lockdown. This is actually a life-saving event for us. It's actually opening doors for us, teaching us how to do things further. We have been, of course, during the lockdown, we have been serving guests who have been coming on the repatriation flights. And we have been practicing our protocols of cleanliness, of hygiene, of safety. We are now getting an opportunity to actually exercise them not only with full confidence, but also with great caution. And a great sense of detailing has been done with ProCam, within the teams, within our safety committee that we have formed in the hotel in the meanwhile. This is an opportunity for us to see and to actually practice what we have been learning during this lockdown. And I thank Anil and Vivek and ProCam and the Airtel Delhi Half Marathon for actually bringing back this life to us again.
Thank you so much, Meena Bhatia. Every time we had our discussions building up to this event, we were looking at the right words to pick out. And we were, of course, banging our heads trying to get it right. And you pretty much picked up every correct word that we wanted that would encapsulate what the ethos of this event is all about. But when you mentioned the protocols, it's good to be able to watch everybody. And I could see Dr. Jain going, yes, that's right. That's what you need to do. Dr. Jain, you have the toughest job in this time. Can you tell us about the kind of very serious safety protocols that are necessary and how you'll be dealing with it, because you do it year after year?
Yeah, thank you, Gautam. I think we have been partnering Airtel Delhi Half Marathon for the 9th consecutive year. And this year certainly brings about a lot of challenges, very different year this time. We have been always advocating exercises as a part of preventive health, and running is a better way of doing it. But see, this year, we need to keep this event as COVID-free. So what we have done is we have created a biosecure zones where all the athletes who will be entering in will be carrying a COVID negative certificate with them. Anyone who will be entering into the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium, again will be into a biosecure zone carrying a COVID negative certificate. People who are based in Delhi will be tested at the site to see that none of them would be a positive asymptomatic cases and can spread the disease further. In addition to that, we will be doing a sanitization very frequently. Every person would be requested and will be provided a kit containing hand sanitizer, a face mask, and hand gloves. We would also be testing each of the vendors, crew members, every team members would be there at the site just before the race day to ensure that no one is positive. Additionally, what we have done is we'll be setting up a medical base camp, which will have a full 2-bedded ICU setup to cater to any eventuality. Also, a ward setup and a zone where we can recuperate. We will be deploying a team of about 40 healthcare professionals, which will consist of emergency medicine specialists, physiotherapists, nurses, emergency medical technicians, and other support staff. And we believe and we sincerely hope that everyone enjoys their stay here in Delhi and enjoys their race. The event remains incident-free. And we really want to wish and congratulate ProCam International and all other partners for holding this and bringing about a positive change towards a healthy frame of mind. Thank you so much.
We're in good hands, Dr. Jain. We know that. Vivek, just listening to everybody, sometimes we talk about panelists and partners. Here you can just look at everyone being a visionary and a leader and doing their bit, and you'd be relieved to know that everyone's on board and doing their bit to make it happen, your vision happen.
It's our vision. We've always said, my brother and myself have always said that a marathon is a panacea for society because it brings so much together, whether it's charity, whether it's health, fitness, pride, prestige, a boost to our own Indian athletes. But really, 2020 has given us a chance to test each one of those pillars to the absolute limit. And look what you're hearing today. That's what you're hearing today. You're hearing the support, the clarion call that yes, we have to be careful. Yes, there's a pandemic. Yes, but we also have to move on in the best and safest way possible. And I tell you, my heartfelt gratitude to the government, to all the government agencies, to Airtel for being such visionary sponsors, to our partners, Le Méridien, Max Healthcare, and so many others that will come on. So yes, very, very enthused, very, very charged to do what is best.
I'll come back to the sports secretary, Mittal Saab, after hearing everybody. from the medical side of it, the hospitality side of it, from what the athletes feel, and of course from having a sponsor who's not just a sponsor but a runner as well. You get a feel of how involved everyone is, and that, from your point of view, will give you a relief that yes, what you're supporting is in the right direction.
I fully agree. Like Adil said, sporting is both mind as well as actual sports or actual physical fitness. So events like this will help us to change ourselves, will help us to understand that things are slowly becoming normal. And if we have to participate in the Olympics and win medals, we have to start changing ourselves. I mean, how long can we really stop ourselves due to COVID? So these events will help us in really strengthening our mind. And really, I request Procam to organize more such marathons before the Olympics, just so that we can, change the mind, we can strengthen the mind. Thank you.
No pressure, Vivek, but
pleasure, no pressure, pleasure.
But a good point.
We can sponsor them if necessary. If we can sponsor, I mean, that fund will not be a problem.
But it's an excellent point, Adil, that the sports secretary makes, because if you think of sport, yes, it's only a handful who may actually participate in a marathon per se or in running events at the Olympics. But the mindset will spread. I wouldn't like to say like a virus, but the mindset will spread to every possible athlete to give them confidence.
Please unmute.
We'll just wait for Adil. There, now he's on.
Okay. Yep. So, it's something like I said 15 or 17 years ago when Procam first started its first marathon in Mumbai. And when Vivek and Anil had asked me to speak, and I said, this will become a movement. This is just not about those 200 or 300 elite athletes and 20,000 the dream runners, but this has got to do with changing the mindset and creating a sporting culture. And that is the mindset that I would love to see, because if there is a sporting culture, it makes my work easier. If parents will send their kids to do sport instead of just pushing them to do academics. So there'll be a good mind-body balance, which is required today. And that will help sport. And as the Honorable Secretary just said, that will help the sport to actually grow. And the Fit India movement, of course, I'm a part of the core committee, and I think even Vivek is. That is something which again resonates exactly with the sort of thought process that I have, that we want more people to run, more people to come out, more people to be fit. And only when you have a very strong base will the pyramid be strong. And that's when so unless you have bench strength, you're not going to be able to produce. You'll have one Olympic medalist here and one there. But if you have a solid bench strength, that's when you'll be able to get more and more medals. And that is required. And it starts again with, as I said, with the mind and changing the mindset and creating this great sporting culture. And that is what the government is that's the vision of the Prime Minister. And that's what the government is trying to do, the Fit India movement. And we are all together pushing it really hard to make sure that we are a fitter country.
Dr. Jain, as a medical professional, when you hear this, and it's obviously so true about so much of sport being played in the mind, but the role that you would play, it's the physical sport, it's the mind, and of course, it's making sure that the safety protocols, once they're in place, it's being healthy. And I think that's important from your point of view. Once you've got everyone tested, you know that health is something people have focused on in 2020 now. They've been forced to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a pleasure to know that the people are already getting aware about it. And as I told you earlier, the prevention is better than the cure. We do not want too many patients to be coming up to the hospitals. We want people to stay fit. We want the people to stay not only physically fit, but physically, mentally, and emotionally fit. So I think this brings about a very positive change. We are very happy as a medical professional to hear this.
Thank you. I'd like a final word from Vani, already contemplating that 10K record this year. But just from the point of view of the support that you've given year after year, having heard everybody here, just the last word on the confidence that you would now have going forward this year and of course in the future as well.
Yeah, I think totally this is our 13th out of 16 years of the marathon, and totally delighted to hear everything that everyone's saying. And, as always, it kind of inspires me personally as well as the organization to keep at it. And this is something we really look forward to, and it's something a lot of us are very passionate about. So our fullest support this time and always. We wish everyone all the best, and a special thanks to Vivek and team's infectious energy in getting this going. So always look forward to this time of the year. Thanks to the Honorable Secretary, the Sports Ministry, AFI, right, and all our partners. But I think nothing could be better is all I can say.
Thank you, Vani. I know it's always a term we attribute to Vivek and Anil, but I wish we could find a new one instead of infectious energy, but we'll work on that. We'll work on that before the year is out. But thank you so much to all our panelists, to Veena Bhatia, Vani Venkatesh, Dr. Sandeep Jain, Adil, to Vivek, of course. We will keep hearing from you. And a big thank you, as I said, not just for being on the panel, Mittal Saab, but for all your support. And we know we'll keep coming back to you for this. And of course, folks, for all of you out there, we did briefly mention that once all this is in place, we're going to have some sterling people running out there. So here's a little hint of what's coming up with our elite Indian athletes. Well, yes, they do form the backbone of everything that we talk about in the whole way of life that we call running. So before we even talk about who's coming and who might be running, let's just get a little feel of the Indian athletes, the big names who will be coming to ADHM 2020.
झील के अंदर एक जिंदा लहर उठाना, हर दिल की खुली सड़क पे उम्मीदें लिखते जाना, सोए सोए सपनों को एक हलचल ख्वाब दिखाना, बेबाक इरादे लेकर बिन बंदिश बहते जा.
I did mention the backbone of an event. Of course, there's so much that goes behind the scenes, so much preparation, so much vision when it comes to 2020. But at the end of the day, we told you there will be some of the best in the world who will be running on the streets of Delhi come that very special day of ADHM 2020. To talk about that, I've still got Vivek Singh and Adil Sumariwala. Delighted to be joined by Jos Hermans, Director Global Sports Communication, all the way from the Netherlands, bright and early in the morning. We're all saying in Delhi it's getting a little bit cooler, Jos, but obviously not as cool as it might be for you up there in the morning.
That's right. That's correct. But it's still well. It's global heating. Even here in Europe, it's getting warmer. It's actually the warmest week ever in November, I think. So, but it's fresh, much fresher than in Delhi. I remember that from every year.
Yes, that's a word that people often say when they try to tell you that you shouldn't be feeling cold. Fresh. It's a lovely word. But one thing that is fresh, Yoss, is the fact that we're actually having this event. And I think obviously you contribute in a huge way to it. But the very fact that sitting there, you're seeing this unfolding in front of you, that must delight you as someone who's so involved in the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. I really want to compliment Procam and Airtel and all the people involved to pull this off. This is, I think, it's historical. Obviously, COVID-19 is historical. We never would think about encountering this, but to do this in this crisis is unbelievable. It's magical. It's fantastic. I don't have enough words to compliment Procam and Airtel, and it's a really bold move. And really, the whole world is watching. Of course, especially the whole running world is watching Delhi next week.
Adil, I'll come to you before we bring yours in more about the international field. Just before this panel began, we got a hint of the top Indians that we can see in the lineup, the likes of Srinu Bugatha. And, looking to match international times, this is such an important time for Indian athletes.
Absolutely. I think this is actually going to be the launch of Indian athletics towards the Olympic Games. This is the first event that is being held in India. We've been under shutdown. We've been hardly been able to train earlier. Only the coaching camps are open and institutes are open. But apart from that, things were shut down. We saw a lot of people, because of their going out on the streets and running and getting ready, etc. This is absolutely the resurgence of the competition calendar for India. And I really want to thank Procam, Anil and Vivek for making this happen. We were wondering what would happen, what not, but finally it's happening next weekend. And I'm really thankful that they're doing this. I also want to thank all the people who are supported this event, because this is for our athletes. So I'm looking at it in two ways. One is the elite athletes, and one are the runners which run every day. But this is the first part of the competition, and thank you for giving the opportunity to our athletes to get into competitive mode, which will put them in good stead for the Olympic Games. Hardly 9 months away.
Before we look at that elite field, Vivek, a quick word from you. You've heard from yours briefly, from Adil, even from the sports secretary. Everyone's mentioning bigger things, the Olympics. Not that you've ever shied away from big things, but you feel an added sense of responsibility with the Olympics so close by?
I think Adil has put it very succinctly, because Airtel Delhi Half Marathon has always been a fast event. We've been in the top 5 half marathon times in the world for many, many years. But I feel just this year, the kind of field that is coming together from all around the world, the kind of field that's being assembled from India is just so amazing. It's just so amazing. It's simply, I think, the strongest Airtel Delhi Half Marathon field we've ever had. What does that show? That shows such an endorsement for the event, an endorsement for the city, an endorsement for everybody behind the event. When you have your defending champions back, when you have world champions coming to your city, I mean, what more global statement can you make? So delighted, so grateful to the Federation, to JOS of Global Sports Communication, to everyone who is a partner with us in this great sporting extravaganza.
Well, Vivek has set the sort of mood for what we're talking about. We've seen the Indians. What about getting a feel of this fabulous international field that we can expect? Wow, that's pretty much the first reaction that we'd have. I mean, here we're just talking about the relief that it's happening, your sermons. One very simple, non-technical question to you. How did you pull it off?
I think we should not underestimate, because this Airtel half marathon in Delhi is so special because it's taking off. Athletes were very keen. Don't forget, many athletes didn't race for maybe half a year or 8-9 months now since March. Everything was closed. So for athletes they were waiting kind of in line, especially in the women's field. Everybody was very keen to come. So that's the pro of organizing the race next week. So how it was actually maybe a little bit easier than normal in the way of the athletes are keen. They want to run. They're like any sports person. They want to compete. So if you look at get back the winners from both the men and women from 18 and 19. The course record holders, they're all back. It shows that they like to run in Delhi. They were there and they are very keen to show their possibilities.
But Jos, you don't generally do things in small measures. We've seen some of these sterling names already, but you've thrown in a couple of surprises for us, haven't you? In addition to that.
Yes, absolutely. And I think in life, many times you say women first. I would like to start with the women because our women field is really incredible. Actually, the women field, I know from 30, 40 years, I have never seen a road race where you get the world champion marathon, Ruth Chepketic. You get the world record holder half marathon, of course. That's Ababel Yemanishi, and then also the world record holder marathon, Bridget Koskei. So you have the half marathon world record or the marathon, the world champion marathon, and the winner, 2 times winner of the Airtel Delhi half marathon. So it's the more you cannot get. So that's for the women's field is a stunning field. The best, I think, not only in Delhi, but as far as I can remember, the best ever in the world. Never in the world there was these kind of athletes were together. World champion half marathon, world champion marathon, and world record holders marathon and half marathon. There's nothing more to get.
I mean, that pretty much sums it up. If you've seen those names, if you've heard those names, let's give you a feel of exactly who these champions are who are going to light up the Indian capital.
And we are underway. The Bank of America Chicago Marathon. Bridget Koskei, you can see it on her face. She has put together an epic race to this point. Koskei will defend her Chicago Marathon Championship and shatter the world record in the marathon.
So the race is on for the world record. In the closing stages, 62.17 now. Rihani, Ababel, Yeshane, the smile is there. It's going to be a $100,000 bonus, 64.30 unofficially.
Yeah, I said wow earlier. I'm actually running out of superlatives because that is a sterling field. Adil Sumariwala, your first reaction to knowing that you've talked about the Indians and how important this year is for them. But when they're rubbing shoulders, 6 feet apart, of course, with these names, it must be absolutely stunning for everyone.
So we have the best of the best Indians who will rub shoulders with them. I hope they'll all improve their best timing. There is an ace in the Indian, which is untested in the Indian field, which is Avinash Sable, who has qualified for the 3,000 meter steeplechase event and is participating here. He is the national record holder in the 3,000 steeplechase. And this is going to be one of his first long runs in preparation for the Olympic Games. There is Shrinu, the winner of last year, the defending champion. There is Abhishek. There is Avinash. It's a tough field, and I'm sure that these guys have been in camps and training for a long time, and are really, it's like a horse ready to run, and you're not opening the gates for them to go, and suddenly you'll find the gates open for them, and boom, they're gone. And I can tell you they're going to in my estimation, we will have a couple of new Indian records, and they will give a fitting fight to the best in the world.
Well, there you see it, Vivek. Adil was very much in admiration, but not necessarily in awe of the field that's coming. And that, I think, shows the strides Indian sport has taken.
To have our best running against the world's best, what more can we ask for? And that too on home soil. That is one of the great aspects of the Airtel Delhi Half Marathon. We put the elites together. We let them run together. We let them compete together. And we've seen this magic happen. We've seen records come. We had an Asian marathon champion just a couple of years ago for the first time ever, Gopi T. So it makes a difference when the world's best run with our best. And I think Adil has put it very succinctly. We've got some great athletes out there. We're going to see some great records out there. I am so excited. As a promoter, you're busy with so many things. I'm just excited to sit and watch this rivalry. Can you imagine the world half marathon record holder going up against Bridget Kosgei, the world marathon champion? I mean, these are things which is magic, which is actually, something that really gets everybody going. So yes, we're looking forward to one of the most scintillating and exciting weekends coming up for us very soon.
Yeah, that's the problem, Vivek. We have never thought of you as just a promoter, and you can never be just a promoter. And that is why you need to wear that many hats, and you need to be more energized than every one of us, including the runners. Final word from yours in fresh Holland. It's a fair way to assess it from Adil that all these athletes you talked about who are almost queuing up, it's like horses waiting to get into that starting gate. Once they're in there, they're ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly. They cannot wait. They will come early in the week and they will be preparing. It's incredible. Also the men's field, we have the course record holder in the men's field. We have the champion from the last 2 years. So both. The whole fields are packed with talent and athletes that are ready, absolutely ready. I think the comparison with the race horses is very nice. That's what we will see. They cannot wait to start.
Thank you very much, Jos. Thank you, Vivek, and thank you, Adil, again for keeping everyone inspired and on their toes. But coming up next, if we talked about the Indians rubbing shoulders with the very best in the field of running, in the field of marathons. How about coming face to face with an Indian who maybe rubbed shoulders, but then strode or went strides ahead of the rest of the world? That's coming up next.
झील के अंदर एक जिंदा लहर उठाना, हर दिल की खुली सड़क पे उम्मीदें लिखते जाना, सोए सोए सपनों को एक हलचल ख्वाब दिखाना, बेबाक इरादे लेकर बिन बंदिश बहते जाना, सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है, सोच लिया तो मुमकिन है, निकल पड़ो.
Yes, I did let out a little bit of a teaser talking about rubbing shoulders, but then going strides ahead. And of course, in so many different fields, as a philanthropist, entrepreneur, a great ambassador for our nation. And I left it for the end. But yes, of course, the gold medal was something that made every Indian proud and continues to make us so today. So let's go straight and meet this gentleman who will be the face of the Airtel Delhi Half Marathon. It's wonderful to have an international brand ambassador, Abhinav Bindra. A very good afternoon to you, Abhinav.
Good afternoon. Nice to see you all.
You know, we talked about, people often talk